The Animal signing in. Right now you see I'm rocking my HBCU football jersey, Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina. And when I was there, I was part of 2 CIAA championships. If you don't know, now you know. But I'm here to talk about a topic that's been on my mind for the past few days. I've been thinking and I've been pondering on this. So, as you all know, HBCUs went down and they had some big matchups this past week. UCF went against NC A&T, and NC A&T, it wasn't a great game. I know a lot of people always say, this is a money game. We could take the money. But at what expense do we got to stop taking certain games? We all know the game is won in the trenches. So when these people got, crazy O linemen and crazy D linemen where they just crazy, because we all know the game of football is won in the dirt. The big guys won the game. They go win the game every time. So if you know for a fact you can't match up on the O line and D line, it's like, why you taking these games? If I'm not mistaken, A&T lost 68-7, and I know within that process, I read that a lot of players got hurt, and I just don't think that's a smart move to be taking these teams. I'm all with, doing a challenge and all that, but if you know for a fact you can't compete in the trenches, you could have a long day, and you could set up a lot of your talented players. You could set your quarterbacks and your running backs up to get possible injured, because these big guys with their hands in the dirt on the defensive line for these Power 5 schools, you already know. They finna try to have a field day, so 3 and 4 of them about to be trying to get to the ball every play. And that don't even count in when they sending linebackers on blitzes and doing all their stunts. So that's my take on that. Then we had Grambling play Ohio State, and that was another devastation game right there. Well, lost 70-0, and that just was like, man, who was coming up with the decisions to play these type of teams? Like Ohio State, they just won the national championship, and we see how they do teams in their conference and teams just in general. They beat down on them very bad. So why would we put our guys in a disadvantage like that? And I know people gonna be like, a lot of the guys at the HBCUs, they need film to show they could play against certain people, and they gonna need this film to be able to go get these looks. And I'm looking like, yeah, but if we losing 70-0, 68-7, do you really think that's putting us on the map? I think sometimes you just gotta build up. Coach Prime, see, what I recognize with him is he was very smart with the way he moved. He wasn't gonna take a game like that and risk his people getting hurt and, messing up the morale and the confidence of his team, because you already know in football, especially at the HBCU, if your starting quarterback go down and your running back go down, sometimes with the rosters, it'd be a big drop off in the talent after the first and second stream. So a lot of these players don't be getting reps and things of that nature. This not like you at an Alabama where all these people, 5 stars, even your backup a 5-star, even the backup under the backup is a 4th star. So I'm all with punching up and getting better and taking on better competition. But I think it gotta be meaningful to the point where it's just on a level like, why not take on a team that's like one of the sorrier teams in the conference, or a team that's not as good? Because, like, come on, 70-0, that's like, why you even come out here? Yeah, we got a check and we got some money, but we got to have, we got to respect our guys, because when these guys go down and they getting hurt and all that, pretty soon, I'm pretty sure these coaches and the people gonna be ready to boot them off scholarship. When we take these games and we get a lot of injuries and this mess up the rest of our football season. At the end of the year and the end of the season, a lot of the coaches, they gonna be ready to talk junk and say, we didn't play good. This year was a failure. This year, we didn't do well. Well, of course we ain't do well when first and second week we played one of the best teams in college football in general, and you know we weren't ready to play them. And now we done got a lot of our best people banged up, so of course we go miss the conference championship. Of course our schedule gonna be looking bad. Loss. Of course, coach gonna be on the hot seat. Of course, you know, a lot of things gonna have to change around here. But you ain't gonna be talking about how y'all accepted this big game where these dogs in the trenches, by the time your quarterback hiked the ball, he getting slammed every play. So, you know, he gonna be looking at and hurt and banged up, and that's gonna make him feel bad about, you know, his style of play or how he produced for the team. And then when you think about the 8 quarters of play that took place between the Ohio State game and Grambling and A&T and UCF, we scored 7 points between 8 quarters between 2 teams. And when you add the 2 scores, so 138-7, nah, we need to go back to the drawing board and definitely get better as a team, get better as a unit, but take games that mean a lot where we could boost our morale, where we could boost our team morale. Because yeah, I like our bands, and our bands are very powerful. At HBCUs, our bands, they more popular than our football team, so them getting to play and get seen on TV, yeah, that's a good look, but I just think we could go about it in a better way instead of getting these guys banged up. And when you getting these guys banged up, the people who coming up with these decisions, I know football, people go get banged up, but when you get out there and you start saying like, man, this junk just looking unfair, like come on, the person who came up with the decision to play this game, they should have to go strap up and play quarterback a few series to see how that feel. You know, you getting slammed down, and now your arm out the socket, or you got your thing, now your arm got to be taped to your chest for the next 4-5 weeks because you fractured your arm. So that's just my take on the situation. I'm definitely with taking money games, but stop going after these best teams thinking that's exposure. Yeah, we got to get tape, game film to show we could play against these guys. And I just think it's going to take more years to get better. Definitely got to get better in the trenches. Definitely got to get better in the trenches. Let me know below in the comments your thoughts on this situation. Do you think HBCUs should keep taking on Power 5s, even the top of the Power 5s? Or do you think they should find some teams that's like, you know, more at the bottom of the conferences and play those, like, you know, those teams instead of going after the big dogs? Because when you're not ready, you're not ready. And these scores of both games reflected that. Meet me in the comments and let me know your take on this situation. Until next time, peace.